Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. The ring was in a clamor. Did the demon scheming sect get scared? How embarrassing, worse than losing. This never happened ever, not at Double Dragon Gathering. The judge frowned at Fiend Yang. The fiends had no way of explaining, just seething in anger. Hui Xiong, in his infinite arrogance, took it as a sign he hit it right on the money, laughing at Mystical Heaven Sect. The leader of the lower three sects will be decided between us now. Mystical Heaven Sect's lasses rolled their eyes. They were sensible to not believe an idiot when they saw one, especially after Zhuo Fan's display of power. Young Master Zhou scared? Who are you kidding? Does this guy think he can fight a superior three sects disciple as well? Hui Xiong flared his nostrils in anger. Who is that? Heads whipped around, only to be stunned. What were they doing here? To the shock of all present, three people, all bearing similar features, strolled in with an evil smile. None other than Demon Soul Sect's brothers. Glancing at the two teams on stage, eldest young Master Han frowned. Demon Scheming Sect isn't here yet? It doesn't look like it, brother. Should we wait for them? Third young Master Han spun his eyes around for that familiar and infuriating figure and proposed this once he didn't find him. Eldest young Master gave a curt nod as he walked on stage. I was dying to see this freak that got you both so tense. Brother, he'll make a great adversary. The other two chipped in. While they were walking to the highest seat like they owned the place, the rest of the crowd was dumbfounded. What is Demon Soul Sect's best seed, Han Yunfeng, doing by coming to a meager scramble between the lower three sects? It can't be that someone caught his attention, right? No way. Demon Soul Sect is a middle three sect, as strong as ever, and by no means could someone from the lower three sects contend. I reckon young Master Han alone can take on all of the lower three sects. That makes sense. But how do you explain his presence here? He got bored, so he went out for a stroll. What else is there? That simple? The people were bustling with scenarios and thought about the situation, why the trio just waltzed in and their purposes here, yet missed the target by a mile. They weren't the only ones taken aback, even the judging elder frowned in suspicion. The sects had a clear hierarchy where strength meant everything. The superior three sects disdained the middle three sects, and the latter scorned the lower three sections. It had always been this way for the thousands of years the Double Dragon Gathering had been holding. Yet this time, the Demon Soul Sect came on its own to watch the lower three sects fight. Why? Is Demon Soul Sect's strength on the lower side this time, and do they fear someone from the lower three sects is going to take their place, so they came to scout? The judge's frown deepened, and he eyed the trio's cultivation and shook his head in even more puzzlement. Nah, it can't be. At their level, they have no worry about their place being taken. That only leaves boredom, but are they really bored? All in all, the presence of such a mighty power at this meager stage gave the lower three sects a glorious honor. No matter how bored they get, these are the core of Demon Soul Sect's disciples, there's no way they'd lower themselves for others' benefit. The elder's skepticism was in full bloom to understand the crux of it all. Shui Ruohua and the other girls just glared at the trio. They gnashed their teeth, and flames sparked in their eyes at the sight of them. When they fought for a spiritual herb, Shui Ruohua ended up with a heavy wound by that third young master's hand which turned out to be a pain to heal. She wouldn't soon forget such a grudge, and the Mystical Heaven Sect's girls wouldn't either. Third young Master Han picked up on the growing hate he garnered and snickered at the girl's powerless glares. He rolled his pinky around with a mocking smile. Bunch of broads not even worth hating. Shui Ruohua's face twisted in rage, her fists bunched tight. Elder Yun spoke coldly, Ruohua, calm down, our goal is the head of the lower three sects, not the middle three sections. Don't make a scene. Are you that confident? With some anger still obvious on the girls' faces, they cooled down somewhat, watching the elders with an odd look. Elder Yun mentioned this 3 months ago. Yet you still have such high expectations? And where are you putting the demon scheming sect then? Recalling Zhuo Fan's brutal power, Elder Yun coughed with red cheeks, changing the subject. The second place isn't that bad either. Do your best. That was more like it, and everyone breathed easier. They feared the elder was going to sick them on the demon scheming sect. That would be plain suicide, giving their lives away for nothing. Good, so you do know your limits. You know the head of the lower 3 sects can only belong to the beast taming sect. You are wise to back down and take second place. The incoming mockery caught their attention. They all frowned and saw the infinitely arrogant Hui Xiong. Snickering, they all wrote him off from their memory. Yet Hui Xiong, in his infinite wisdom, saw it as a sign of weakness, bulking under his awesome presence. His laughter grew even more outrageous. A wise man knows when to quit. There's no shame in knowing your place beneath me, no need to be so downcast. You still have that demon scheming sect filled with cripples under you. I am someone the demon soul sect's 3 young masters had their eye on. You caught their attention? Shui Ruohua eyed Hui Xiong skeptically, like the fool he was. The judge's beard shook, sizing Hui Xiong up and down, then shaking his head. Beast taming sect's disciples have the right attitude, but perhaps too right. Oblivious to the weird looks he received, Hui Xiong puffed up his chest in pride. After my master and I challenged the demon scheming sect's elites and wiped the floor with them, on our way down, we stumbled upon second young master Han. After hearing of my glorious feat, they had only respect for me, singing praises of me. My master bore witness as well. You can just ask him. Elder Lu grinned from ear to ear, nodding all the while. Even he believed that the demon soul sect's praises at that time were completely and utterly genuine. Second young master Han stood up, his face twitching and lost for words. Is this pair of master-disciple dumb or dumber? Sure, one didn't always get the thick irony even if it was pointed out to them, but this was absurd. So much time passed, yet you still haven't figured it out? Is it the empty heads or utter ignorance at fault here? Sigh, such are the trappings of greatness. But to think my brilliant aura would be so blinding, for even the young masters of the demon soul sect to see me as their match, I am getting nervous. Hui Xiong gave a theatrical sigh, cupping his hands at the said figures in the stands. Young masters, rest easy, I know your thoughts perfectly. As the one you recognize the strongest, I will take the leading position of the lower 3 sects and defer to you, to show my undying respect for the grace you bestowed upon me. A clamor rose among the audience. They were all taken in by Hui Xiong's heroic display and recognition of other heroes as he addressed the high-placed young masters. He's but a peak radiant stage, yet he garnered the attention of the 3 young masters to the point they came to see him fight. We better keep an eye on this Hui Xiong, he might very well be a dark horse. The people gesticulated and pointed, with all eyes on this black bear. Han Yunfeng's face twitched, and he eyed second young master Han. Brother, where did you meet this moron? We barely exchanged a couple of words, yet he took them at face value. But what's even more ridiculous is his master believing them too. Humph, like master, like disciple. Getting used by these ignorant and oblivious morons leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Han Yunfeng grumbled. Second young master Han was getting angry as well. Should I go down and sort it out? Sort what out? The bigger he is, the harder he'll fall. He'll soon get the reward that it's coming to him, don't you worry. Han Yunfeng grinned. His brothers snickered. Whoosh. A flash of red spiked the temperature around the stage. A redhead youth towered before the crowd, just 100 meters from the Han brothers, his cold eyes staring at the stage. Hasn't that freak arrived yet? Superior 3 Sect Hellion Flame's best seed, Yen Mo? Han Yunfeng watched the redhead with a shocked look. He wasn't the only one, everyone here was stunned as he was such a heavy name and showed his presence here. What was going on here? First is the best seed from the middle 3 sects, and now it's the best disciple from the superior 3 sections. Do the lower 3 sects have some kind of inhumane being? Did the lower 3 sects have someone that could threaten the superior 3 sects disciples? This was too astonishing. Superior 3 sects and lower 3 sects were worlds apart, and the same applied to their disciples. Yet Yan Mo came here. How would they explain that? Was he just as bored as the rest of them? Just how bored can you be, coming to the Double Dragon gathering? Brother, what's this freak doing here? Second young master Han frowned. Han Yunfeng shook his head, just as curious, how should I know? There's no way he came by chance either. I just hope he didn't come to see the same guy we have our eyes on. That would be the pits. What? Third young master Han gasped. Han Yunfeng squinted, can't you tell? For Yan Mo to be so serious in looking after his target, that man must be truly powerful. His brothers shuddered in shock. Yan Mo. Shui Ruowa's eyes were full of hate and rage. The memory was still fresh in her mind of how this demon toyed with her sisters to death. Shui Ruowa's eyes were bloodshot. Her junior sisters picked up on her distress and glared at Yan Mo with the same revulsion and disgust. Not that the redhead cared, having better things to do than mind nobodies, like searching for a certain deadly and familiar someone. Ruohua, quiet down. This is the Double Dragon manor. Elder Yun held her shoulder with a warning, we can't touch Yan Mo even if we want to. Hellion Flame has his back. Shui Ruowa's face sank, and she sighed. All her sisters' suffering and cruel treatment were now for nothing. She couldn't even avenge them. Her nails dug deep in her palms, enough to draw blood. She felt utterly helpless and futile. Even Hui Xiong was taken aback by Yan Mo's coming, then he said in tears, Master, do you see? Yan Mo has come to see me. This attention is dangerous, but it proves your strength has reached the ears of Hellion Flame's first seed. I am proud to have you. Elder Lu was touched to the core. The crowd was reeling in unison and looked at the weird pair with scorn. There's got to be a limit to how self-absorbed one can be. How did they just jump to the conclusion Yan Mo came for them as well? Why the hell would a fifth-layer ethereal stage expert care about some nobody still in the radiant stage? Dude, rein in your narcissistic tendencies if you know what's good for you. The judge shook his head. Ignoring how the self-important idiots got their unfounded confidence from, he was more interested to know what got a middle 3 sect and a superior 3 sect to come at a measly lower 3 sects fights. He scanned the 2 sects below, then looked over the roster and the respective levels, and the judge's suspicion grew. Not one among them is worth this much attention. Whatever, it'll all be made clear once it starts. The judge turned to them and shouted, we've waited long enough. Time to draw lots. Single battles will be fought in the form of tag teams. There are 3 numbers inside. The first and second will fight, while the third will fight the loser of the first fight and then the winner of the first match. These 3 rounds will determine your performance and evaluation. The judge's hands lit up and presented a bamboo tube holding the 3 numbers. Mystical Heaven Sect and Beast Taming Sect's elders stepped forward to draw. The fiends, however, only watched the entrance, catching no shadow of Zhuo Fan and the rest, and their anxiety mounted. Elder, our people are running late. Could we maybe wait for a while longer? Rubbing his greasy palms, Fiend Yang fawned. The judge stared back at him like a whitewashed wall, but without all the emotion, the time is up, and no one will wait for you. So hurry up and draw your lot. If you're lucky to draw third, you will have bought yourself the time. I understand, I do, but... Fiend Yang scratched his cheek, looking lost at the elder while pacing around. The elder snapped, draw now or forfeit. I will. Sheesh, it's just a number. Fiend Yang's mouth sank, and he noticed his 2 pals were just as conflicted. So he moved in closer. Fiend Yang, make it damn good. You do it then. Fiend Yang barely took a step, and they shouted at him. Enraged, he glared back and gave a reply of his own. Fiendine shrugged, flicking his hand, forget I said anything. With gloom seeping out of every pore, Fiend Yang dragged his feet to the judge under the snicker of the opponent's elders. His face sank and roared with all his fury, cursing Zhuo Fan's entire lineage. In his mind, that is. Damn that wretched brat. What the hell is taking him so long? Now I'm the patsy. Venerable Yang, please. Elder Yun snickered as he made an exaggerated flourish for him to go first, with the kindest of intentions, of course. Elder Lu had a taunting look constantly plastered on his face. Fiend Yang's face twitched, and he glared at Elder Yun. If it weren't for us, this old coot would be dead. Now he's laughing it up at my expense. You haven't heard the last of me. Venting a bit on the inside to cool the towering fury, Fiend Yang set his jaw and stuffed his fat hand inside for the number. But the number was anything but reassuring, going by his tearful and devastated eyes.